A new government watchdog report offers President Bush a powerful new way to terrify the American people. In our fourth story tonight, forget Iran. He would do much better with one speech outlining the 5-year record of his Department of Homeland Security, or even just the waste, fraud, criminality, and perhaps worse, ineptitude, incompetence, and inability to complete virtually anything, as cataloged in the new report by Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. FEMA, of course, comes in for particular scorn. Its pathetic record on Katrina, consistent to this day with millions wasted on housing locations and mobile homes unsuitable for human life, consistent with President Bush's early decision to downgrade FEMA and appoint party favorites with no relevant experience to 5 out of FEMA's top 8 positions. More importantly, under current Secretary Michael Chertoff and his predecessor Tom Ridge, DHS overall has consistently outsourced millions, even billions, for security measures yet to materialize at airports, at seaports, at the border, and throughout the nation's once admired disaster response infrastructure, while Ridge and at least 89 other former DHS officials have turned their lackluster performance into lucrative private positions, often with companies which had benefited from DHS largesse. On that note, let's bring in Rachel Maddow, whose show airs weeknights on Air America Radio without even a dime of federal taxpayer money. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Keith.
All right, 6 years after 9/11, billions of dollars later, where are the cargo screeners, the radiation sensors, the luggage screeners, the bomb detectors, the secure border? Stop me if I'm getting the point across here. The National Disaster Plan. Where are these things?
Yeah, where were they before 9/11, too? That would have been nice. Homeland Security, if you strip away the Orwellian branding, calling it the homeland for one, but all of the rest of it, is basic competent government. That's why they were able to take 24 existing government agencies and combine them under this umbrella to create DHS in the first place. It's because that's the stuff government's supposed to be doing. Port security, borders, emergency preparedness, that's basic governing. And so while the failure of those basic government functions under the rubric of Homeland Security is all the more disgusting because of the way they've marketed fear and terrorism in this administration, it really, at its heart, is just a failure of being able to perform the basic functions of government.
Right. This is what Churchill said. The prime purpose of any government is the security and safety of its people. Right. It requires no additional mandate after that. Yeah. So who got the money? Where did the money that was supposed to go to this? When did they turn this into just another pork barrel operation? And instead of keeping us safe, who got the money to keep us safe? Who did they keep safe financially? Yeah,
exactly. Who ended up with the reward while we all got the shaft? The worse off the government agency, the more poorly run the agency, the worse the government does its contract oversight, the better it is for people who are trying to pry loose money out of that agency. So whether you're Tom Ridge turning around after your tenure as Homeland Security Secretary and cashing right in on that right after your tenure, or whether you are, you know, the organization, the company that sold them hundreds of millions of dollars worth of port radiation detectors without the pesky requirement that they work, the worse off the agency, the easier it is to screw the taxpayer by pulling money out of that agency.
What was that thing said by one of the businessmen during the Civil War? You can sell the government almost anything if you have the guts to ask. And there you have it. But is this incompetence, Rachel, or is it, as Naomi Klein suggests, intent? That this is a system designed not for Homeland Security, but it's designed to funnel taxpayer money away from the federal government into the hands of friendly corporations. Is it design? Well, we don't know unless we know their intent. But I think if you take a big picture on it, it's kind of, there's a compelling case to make for the way Naomi Klein sees it. In Reagan's second inaugural, he said government is not the solution, government is the problem. That's been adopted as the mantra of the Republican Party and the right wing. So if you think the government is the problem and you then make government smaller, that makes sense. If you think government is the problem, and then you make government a lot bigger, the biggest increase in the size of the federal government since World War II, then you have to answer, well, if you think government's the problem, and you've just made it really big, if you as a conservative think that government can't help the American people, but you hugely enlarge the size of the government, who'd you do it for? It's not for us. It's by process of elimination, it has to be for somebody else. Yeah. It's just a question of which of the many somebody else's it could be. Yeah. So philosophically, close this out for me. Why does the right care so much about listening to my conversations, reading your emails, but not only caring about that, but prioritizing that over inspecting cargo, which actually could blow up even if it's just accidentally? Right. Why are searching our bank records more rewarding than searching the cargo that goes on our planes? Well,
eavesdropping and the kind of scuppering of the Fourth Amendment that we've seen gives the government power, gives them power over our citizens. It gives them the kind of power that they could have never really dreamed of having before 9/11 and before this branding. Whereas searching the cargo containers, A, costs money, and all it does is keep us safe.
Right.
And frankly, you know, when you've got your priorities straight, those things apparently fall down lower on the list.
Yeah, it begins to look, after you watch it day in and day out for 5 years, that it's all a nice, convenient excuse to do what they wanted to do anyway.
Yeah.
Rachel Maddow, the host of The Rachel Maddow Show on Air America. As always, great. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Pete.
Our nightly